eclipse, which hopefully is going to transform our life, although at the time it may feel like chaos. And why is that? Because eclipses are all about not only revealing what's hidden, but they give us this moment of doubt. If you think back in the day, in ancient times, where there was, nobody knew that the sun or the moon was going to go dark, and suddenly it went dark, and everyone's like, what's happening? Must be a terrible omen, darlings. But then, suddenly, when it all became clear, once the eclipse passes, everything is revealed and we see things in a new light. So, have you got any ideas about what you're going to have to let go of? We're already feeling this intense energy around us, right? It's really building. And we're thinking, hello, One Infinity, hello, F Kitty, hello, Forever Love, and Mountain Homestead. Maybe that's one word. So we're moving into a space where we're experiencing an eclipse. And at the time, it might be quite freaky, I'll be honest with you, because we are confronted with something. I mean, if you think about it, in prehistoric times, not prehistoric times, when the first humans came and they had an eclipse, they were like, oh my God, what's going on in the world? What is going on? And it felt like the end of the world. And symbolically, at the time, or in our mind, we might think, oh, it's the end of the world. But trust me, it isn't. Because what did people feel when that passed? Oh, everything is clear. Everything is, I appreciate everything being light. I appreciate what I'm seeing in front of me. So do not freak out too much when you go through this transformation, which you are surely going through, because this is a big one. There is lots of talk, and I really truly believe it, that we are in a point of changing energy lines, and the world is either going to look one way or the other way, and we have to keep the faith, not only for our reality, but for the reality of the world and the universe, okay? We are the ones born at this time that hold the extra seed of magic to be able to transform our reality, for the first time in many thousands of years, although I do believe people knew it in the beginning. We know, we are learning, we're remembering how to manifest and create our reality, right? We are very special beings compared to any other time in history, except the early times, when of course they knew everything. And we are born for a reason, and we're right in that moment when, the world is opening up and splitting off, and we're all entering different dimensions. We've got to hold the faith, we've got to hold the truth for what we can create in our life and each other's lives and the world's lives. There's been some pretty scary stuff going around, which I'm going to talk about because I think it does kind of mimic the energy of Virgo, right? Virgo can be very judgmental, can be very analytical, and, it wants the best for us health-wise, but it's the opposite of Pisces. And what is Pisces? Pisces is empathy. Pisces is emotional merging. Pisces is spirituality. And we're on this axis. We're on this moment of these two things being in opposite places. We've got all this Pisces energy around, and now we've got this eclipse in Virgo. And what I've noticed, which actually chilled me to the bone, is that I'm going to name Elon Musk. I know a lot of people don't like it if I say anything at all about him because he's a very polarizing figure. But actually what he said has freaked me out, because he has said, along with all of a sudden, a lot of very, very extreme Christians have been starting to say this, and I don't think it's a coincidence, is that empathy is the worst thing you can possibly have, and it is creating the downfall of civilization. Empathy is the downfall of civilization? What? It's the opposite of Christian values and what Jesus said. And, Elon Musk himself says he, may not be able to feel empathy in the way that other people do. But now suddenly, the whole, people are putting out there, powerful people in positions of power saying, empathy is bad. Will destroy society. Are you kidding me? This is the opposite. And the reason I'm concerned about this during this eclipse in particular is because then we have Neptune going into Aries. And Neptune in Pisces was all about empathy and all about merging and all about understanding each other. And Neptune in Aries, is the warrior. On a positive note, it opens the warrior up in all of us, okay? So we're going to be empathetic warriors, for instance, but it can bring a selfishness. And then I was thinking about Pluto in Aquarius, which is rise of the machine. Now, we were all very optimistic about that. And I haven't given up on that yet because it's early days, but we were all like, yes, we're all going to join forces. We're all going to understand that we're all one. But actually, it seems to be tipping into, so far, at the very beginning of this experience, it's tipping into complete, detachment from empathy and feelings and moving more towards something more clinical and something more AI. And I'm like, oh, no, please. And that's why it's up to us. I'm assuming you want empathy in the world and etc. to really hold that power to, yes, all for, the evolution and different technologies, but we have to keep empathy open. And it is very dangerous when suddenly a great swathe of people are talking about how empathy is bad. I don't get it, but I find it chilling. So the reason I'm talking about this now is that we are going through Virgo. Now, what is Virgo? Virgo, listen, I love Virgos, nothing against them, ruled by Mercury, extremely funny, etc. But Virgos can be very self-critical and critical in general and, very kind of analyze things rather than feel things. So this eclipse, which is also opposing Saturn in Pisces, is saying to us, number one, don't be critical of yourself. And I would say during this eclipse, avoid being critical of anyone else. We are seeing the true value of who is committed to us, Saturn in Pisces, and we might be shocked to find that some people actually don't have any empathy for us, or actually, we've outgrown people because their commitment to us, Saturn commitment, isn't reflecting in the relationship. Now, when it's an eclipse, this can come as a big shock. It can come as a big surprise. I don't know if you've started to see anything like that. It's also fundamentally saying to us, what is worth your commitment? And what did you want to commit to and you never bothered? What we want to achieve, what are our biggest dreams? Are we actually committing to them, or are we just daydreaming about them? Pisces energy. Now's the time to do the work. Virgo energy, right, which is of being of service. And, we could be of service to ourselves. Are you being of service to yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? Do you have empathy for yourself? Do you do the work so that your life is fabulous? How are your habits and your routines? These are all crucial questions to ask yourself at this time. This eclipse is not messing about. And actually, as we head through March and onto that Neptune in Aries, we are going to be different people by the end of this. It's going to be a different world. So it's time now really to position ourselves, understand ourselves, take responsibility of ourselves so that we can step forward on a firm footing. Although, to be honest, when there's an eclipse, it doesn't feel like a firm footing. But we are going through a vibrational shift and a wake up. And in a way, Saturn, there's a little sort of bit of, tough love going on. And we're being confronted actually with things that we need to look at. We can't, let it go. And don't forget, Venus is retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde straight after the eclipse. And we're in this position where the past is coming up to say hello. I don't know if ex-lovers, old flames have contacted you, or they could any time in March. Old friendships, or, on a positive note, there could be old projects or things from your past just coming back. But remember, we are not our past. We are our future. We don't belong to our past. We are different every second of the day. And I can assure you of one thing. You are not the same person you were a year ago. You are not the same person you were last week. Never mind 5 years ago. So if somebody pops up, you have to greet them with the wise soul that you are today. The evolved being that you have become with all the lessons you've learned. And hopefully with great self-esteem and great kindness to yourself, and deal with the situation. For some of you, maybe there is a situation from the past that will come back that you want to continue and someone else wants to continue. But even so, it's a new relationship. You're not the same people, and you must love yourself and you must honor yourself in all the relationships you step into. So the other thing to look at is, are you self-critical? You know, how do you treat yourself?